So, good morning. This is a bit of a strange one. It's normally not on my usual photography or easy tips DIY. So this is to do with the debt relief order. Now, as a lot of these adverts will have you believe, you can write off up to 85% of your debt, but also they will charge you quite a hefty fee for it. Now, my situation probably wasn't the same as everyone else's, but I had a large amount of debt inherited from a bad situation, and living on benefits means that I couldn't afford to pay them. So I looked about and I found a solution that cost me exactly £90. That's it, total cost. But there is a catch to it, and that catch is not for everyone. So definitely look into this before you even go any further. But I'll go through this in steps because that way it makes a bit more sense to what you're doing. Right, first step, very important. Organize every single bill or debt you've got that you can't afford into its each separate things, so you know what they are, their account numbers, their balances. Second thing, speak to the companies involved. If you know directly you cannot afford it, explain to them what's happening, try and get a repayment plan of what you physically can afford. But now, the one thing I would say, don't go to the banks. The banks are out now, unwilling to help, because I went to the bank, said to them, would they take all this? I make one monthly payment. They told me where to go, quite frankly. Not in an unfriendly term, but in a bank way. And I spent quite a bit of time arguing a case for this, but didn't get me anywhere. So, because I live on benefits, now I won't go into what benefits they are, but they are low enough that I physically cannot afford it. I went down the route of what's called a debt relief order. Now, with that debt relief order, it allows me to, after 1 year, write off all the debts. And this first step to that, second step rather, is to, once you've got organised with all your bills and all the paperwork, and sometimes this is all mine, and that was just for a few debts. I dread to think what it's like for a monster amount. Anyway, so the second step, I contacted Stepchange, a very, very good company, and they're a charity. And they don't charge you a fee for organising these things. You just pay the fee for the money required. And this debt relief order basically will take all your debts into one large big pot. And in my case, it was over £8,000 of inherited debt of a bad situation. You do have to have above a certain limit with them. So contact them. And you can Google them, just put in Stepchange and they will pop up everywhere. Don't go for the advert versions, go direct to their website. The second thing that, in this case, second part of the second thing, is do yourself a budget. Now, I'm not going to bring this too close because this has personal info, but it's what you pay out, what you've got coming in, and if anyone's really good on Microsoft spreadsheets or the One Office spreadsheets, use that and just list everything you have coming in, everything you have going out, and total them all up. And then also a little trick that because I'm good on numbers, I'm pretty good at this, I did that. I listed every single debt I have, the company it's with, so the creditor and whoever the debt collection agency is, the remaining, what I'm paying currently in installments or what you're paying, and the account numbers, and total it all up. Now mine came to 8327.99. Now in some cases there are people with huge amounts more, and this is where Stepchange really did help. They walked me through the process, and this is all their paperwork, and it does equal a lot of papers, but it's worth doing. Anyway, so I went through them, and I suggest if you really are in dire crap, just go through them and they will help you. They will organise everything. There is a £90 fee to pay, so that's all the bits of paper. I had to pay the £90, so I had to find that. The big chunks that were given or lent to me. Then it took them about a month or so to get everything organised, but it's worth waiting. And then they submitted the document for me, because they sent me a copy to approve, make any corrections. I then contacted them, and then I got this. Now that is who actually runs the DROs. Excuse the hair, it's early morning for me, and I'll take so that's what it's called. Go through that. It'll be, as long as you have met the criteria, it will be granted. And this means after 1 year, exact from the day it's granted, and you will get official documents through the post. This is from the insolvency service directly, that will state an exact date, a reference number. It'll also, every single debt you've listed, and make sure you do list everything you cannot afford, as long as you meet the criteria to start with. Don't forget, I've forgotten this, I'll add this in later. Cannot be done. Adding things in later is a total pain in the proverbials. But once this is granted and you've got everything listed in the correct level, you can you can relax for the year. No debt relief, no debt collection agency can come to you. If a High Court enforcement turn up to collect the money, show them your document, and as long as the account that's being threatened to collection is on there, they cannot physically touch a thing. And that will be that for every single, and all mine were listed as, I will categorize a number of them. I think it's it's nine items. Now, if a collection agency had sent out bailiffs to collect, they couldn't touch me. Now, it's not for everyone. In my case, I didn't have a choice. Living on benefits meant that my money was going left, right and centre, and there wasn't ever enough to pay all the right bills. And being disabled means that I'm pretty much screwed in terms of what I get in, because not everything is as clear as it seems with that side of it. But that's for another time and another situation, shall we say. Anyway, so back to this situation. This DRO has now completed, but the one thing I will say, once the completion date has happened, go contact every single creditor and state to them the DRO is now completed, and ask them to close the account down if they haven't already done so. I've recently had this argument, and it's been going on for 2.5 months now, with EE and a firm of solicitors, who shall not be named for legal reasons. because they probably don't like me at the moment. But EE didn't want to close it. They didn't own the account, and the solicitors didn't own the account. So I went to the official receiver, the insolvency service, back to them, spoke to them, and then they said to me in exact terms that I have to contact the company themselves. So I contacted EE, explained what was going on, said that I was quite happy to take this matter through official complaints channels. So they gave me an email address, and lo and behold, the account has now been closed. So if you're lucky enough to get this granted, don't be under any illusion that your credit score will improve. This is a pitfall. You cannot get credit. You cannot get pretty much anything that requires a credit score. And getting employment, well, I found is a real total pain in the ass. But in my case, actually, that doesn't matter because my disability is progressing in a far more vicious way and more problematic for me. And I just have to deal with that, unfortunately. So, for the debt relief order, it will sit on file for 6 years, or maximum of, and as long as all the accounts are removed from your credit file, getting internet and getting all the rest of it should be fine, because those are essential services. As for getting a phone contract, kiss that goodbye. And your bank accounts. Now, this is a side of it that you will have to. If you've got overdrafts, you'll lose them. If you've got store cards, bank cards, credit cards, whatever it may be, that requires a credit rating to be good, to keep it, kiss it goodbye. That's the drawback to it. So try to make arrangements first. Don't go down this route if you can avoid if you can avoid it. But I had no choice, and by doing so, yes, I'm pretty much going to be screwed for a couple more years, but I can't change that factor. In my case, it works. And I've now had a resolve that something has been marked as closed with EE, and the debt default has been taken away. It has taken me a few months, but it has been worth it. Then the other thing to consider, your mortgage, as far as I'm aware, your mortgage can't be taken away. It may be slightly affected, but the other thing, is that you will have a mark on your credit file. Your credit score will be as low as hell. The devil probably will have a higher credit score than yourself. And once that is done, and once this debt relief order's cleared, whatever amount of debt, whether it be 8,000 or 80,000, will officially be written off. You will not have a penny of those debts listed. But make sure you do your research first. List every single debt correctly with account number, balance, with the creditor and the company it was taken out with originally, and make sure you've spoken to each of those companies, because then to inform them that you are going down this route. There is a £90 fee to pay, but it's well worth it if you choose this route. So don't believe what these ads say on the adverts say, oh, write up 85% your debt, but we're going to charge you X amount of money to help you. Go Stepchange, and the other great ones, but it's very difficult to get the help because they're so busy, is what's called CAP, Christians Against Poverty. If you can get that help off either company, go for it. But Stepchange were brilliant in my books, and I'd highly recommend them. CAP are great as well, but I couldn't get in with them because they didn't have a space at the time. So I'm hoping this finds you find this useful, any help you need to do with certain things, the link to do with certain things you can Google, but just drop me a message on YouTube. I'm happy to then send you certain information. I won't send you personal. I won't send screenshots of things, but I will send you what I know I can send without that my personal info going out. And as I say, any further help I can offer, I will. If you have, there is another route, but I won't go down that route because I thought that was a complete write-off for my credit history and for my ability to do anything for the rest of my natural life. So this is my solution. Hope it's useful for you all. Drop me a message if you need to. I'm happy to respond. And have a brilliant day. Sunny in Brighton. As you can see, it's now 8:30. And be well. And as I say, if it's useful, give us a like, because then I know these videos are making some sense. As this channel is run by me, my disability is such that I cannot do everything I wish. And it's now perspired there's quite a serious problem health-wise for me coming up. And if that turns out to be as bad as it is, then I'm pretty much screwed in future life. But for now, wishing you the best. I'll keep posting as much as I can when I can, and enjoy. And just drop me a message if you need the help that I can give. And thanks, and see you later.